All right, the little scooter. Onwards! What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, today we're gonna take a look once again at an electric scooter. Now, I know we've had the Daytona Edison a little bit while back, and now we're gonna take a look at the Super Soco CPX. Now, while the Edison was a 50cc class scooter, this is more of a premium offer from Super Soco, and it wants to go after the 125cc's of the world. It's got a price to match them a little bit, a range to match them, and power almost there, not quite there, but it's almost at a 125cc level of power. But without further ado, let's go straight into it and take it from front wheel to back wheel as we usually do. And we're gonna start off with the front. Now, up front, we have a 16-inch front wheel with a 100 by 80 by 16 front tire. We have a single brake disc up front with a triple piston caliper, and as you may see, two brake lines going into the caliper. That's because this scooter does not have ABS, but it does have a combined braking system. So when we pull on the rear brake lever, it also acts on the front a little bit. I don't know if it's exactly a 50-50 split. Usually it's a 70% rear, 30% front, but we will test that out when we get it out on the road. Also up front, we have an LED daytime running light in the form of a LED strip here, and two LED headlights. Both high and low beam are LED. Also, the turn signals are LED. Everything on this scooter is LED. Moving up, we have plastic fairing and a handlebar mounted windscreen. Now, it's not a big windscreen, but it's big enough for your city riding. If you're a taller rider, you're gonna be a bit above it, but if you're a regular size rider, this windscreen will be just fine for you. Moving around to the back, we have our passenger foot pegs, which are easily removable in case you don't plan on taking any passengers. A 14-inch wheel with a 4 kilowatt hub motor. And an interesting thing to this scooter is there is no rear swing arm. There is only a one-sided, single-sided swing arm, and the rear wheel is held on by these 4 bolts. So when it comes time to change your tires, it's very easy to take off. Usually on scooters it's a bit difficult because the exhaust is here and also a complete swing arm, a both-sided swing arm, and it's a bit of a hassle to take the rear wheel off. Not here. It's easy to take off. You have a center stand, 4 bolts, and the wheel comes off without any kind of fuss. Also, the rear tire is 110 by 80 by 14. We have a rear luggage rack. You can mount the top keys to this one. Full LED rear lights, license plate holder, and a mud guard. Moving around to the left side, we have a single shock. We have a rear brake disc with a dual piston caliper, passenger foot pegs, a center stand, and a side stand. Now the side stand is in a bit of a weird position. It's a bit far back from your regular scooters, which would have it mounted somewhere around here. It's a bit way back, so it takes a bit of time to get used to its position, and because you're always searching for it with your leg here. It's all the way back here, almost to the passenger foot peg. But that's something you get used to after a couple of days riding. We do have a flat loading floor with a luggage hook and a really low and wide seat, both for the rider and for the passenger. In terms of dashboard, like I said, we have our luggage hook. We have a USB charger right here. We have a cubby hole which easily fits a regular size modern smartphone. That's a 6-inch phone, fits without a problem. A motorcycle style handlebar, a digital display, the windscreen, the controls. To your right side you have your throttle, and yes, once it's on the center stand and on, you can accelerate. Actually, you can take it to its theoretical top speed. That's about 103, but I don't think it's going to be able to do that on the open road. So on the right hand side, we have our front brake, our acceleration, our kill switch, our mode selector. So we have 3 riding modes, and our reverse button. We'll get to that in a bit. On the left hand side, we have our turn signal indicators. Now there is not any kind of noise for the turn signal. So we have the turn signals on. You basically have to know you've put them on. We have our high and low beams. The low beam is always on when you turn the scooter on, and our horn and our rear brake. In terms of dash, we have a digital display. We have some warning lights on the bottom. We have an amp meter. We have a temperature gauge. I think this is for the battery. It may be for the motor, but if I'm guessing correctly, it should be for the battery. We have our mode indicator, and we can switch to normal, eco, or sport mode. Our speed, our trip meter, our total odometer, and our battery level, our battery charge. Now, this scooter currently has fitted to it 2 batteries. These batteries are 60 volt 45 amp hour batteries. Usually they take around, with its included charger, about 3 to 4 hours each to charge and give a range of about 70 kilometers per battery. Now, you don't have to switch between them. The scooter automatically switches from one battery to the other. When the first battery gets to 25% charge, it will switch to the second battery. And when both batteries are at 25% charge, it should lock you in the eco mode so you can get home and charge them. In terms of battery, there are 2 ways to charge the batteries. Either you take them out from under the seat and take them in your house, or you have a plug right here which you can use to charge the batteries. But to get at the batteries, which are under the seat, you have to take your key, stick it in here, open it, and here we see the 45 amp hour 60 volt batteries. Now they do have a battery meter on them. So as you can see, the first one that's being discharged is this one. Now this does limit the underseat storage. Basically you have just a little bit of space on top of the second battery, but honestly there's basically no storage whatsoever. Only the cubby hole in the front, and about nothing here under the seat in case you go for the 2 battery option. You can go for just 1 battery, and then you have the space of a battery to use as storage. Now, in terms of sizing, compared to other electric scooters, especially the ones that target the 50cc market, this is actually a pretty big scooter. You can easily fit 2 people on it and also have a top box on the back. There's plenty of legroom up front. The handlebars are nice and tall. The windshield is decently tall. What I would have liked to see is a little bit more under seat storage, but you can't have everything. You can't have a theoretically 134 kilometer range and also a lot of underseat storage. You can choose from either one of them. Even if you get the 2 battery model, if you go somewhere and you need some extra storage and it's not far away, it's like 50-60 kilometers away, just take out one of the batteries and then you have some underseat storage. But I think there's still a little bit more space where some batteries could have been fitted to also get the range, but then again get the storage of a regular scooter. In terms of sitting on it, it's actually quite comfortable. So I have tons of leg room. The handlebars are nice and tall. The windscreen is in a very good position for me at my height of 175 centimeters tall. The seat is wide, very comfortable, very nicely padded. And in terms of reaching the ground, I have a bit of a problem like the Maxim with it being very wide, but the scooter is light. It's about 100 and a bit kilograms, 110, 120 kilograms with 2 batteries. The weight is nice and low. So while I can't flat foot it quite exactly, it's very easy to hold upright. Also, nice part is, if we hold down the R button, we get an F for forward, and basically you can walk it. And if you hold down the R button, you get an R on the dash, and basically you can reverse it. quite funky. So if you want to turn it around, it's quite easy to get it to go forward and backwards without you having to struggle. So even if you can't reach the ground properly, it's very easy to maneuver this kind of scooter using the reverse function. Now, it's not something that should be needed for a lot of people, but considering you have an electric motor and it's very easy to do a reverse gear in something like this, why not have it? I quite like the fact that you have a reverse gear here. But without further ado, let's get it out on the road and see how it rides, and talk a little bit more about it as a competition for your regular 125cc scooters. Come on, let's go. Alrighty, riding the Super Soco CPX. Let's see if this is a proper effort to dethrone the regular petrol powered 125s. Now, here around the yard, it seems pretty quick. But around the yard, just about everything feels pretty quick because it's a small yard and you can't get up to some proper speed. But we're gonna take this one out on the road and see how it handles the road. Now, in terms of pricing, this comes to around 4,000 euros without any kind of offers or subsidies from the state. That depends on your local market. So at 4,000 euros, it's a bit on the expensive side compared to regular 125s, but you do get zero maintenance and the ability to just charge the scooter at home. And that's a bit of a nice it's a bit of a nice thing for people who are not interested in long distance touring on their 125s or stuff like that. They just want to get around the city, but they also don't want to be limited by the low speed of a 50cc equivalent electric scooter. This has plenty of pickup and go for city speeds. There is a bit of wind. This windscreen, I would have liked it to be a little bit more taller, but I'm sure there's going to be aftermarket windscreens available for this model of scooter. In terms of handling at speed, you can feel it's a bit of a light bike, but that's no problem because of the 16-inch wheels. It gives you plenty of stability and it has plenty of go. I mean, we're going 80 kilometers an hour. That's pretty decent. Now, does it have the pickup of a 125? Not really, but then again, it's not too far off. What I am doing now to keep it at this kind of speed is absolutely caning it. It's basically showing maximum amperage draw from the battery, but then again, that's no problem. It's not like an internal combustion engine where the piston is gonna suffer. You can easily do this on an electric scooter. Running the engine at peak power is no problem for such a scooter. Now, the linked brakes are actually pretty nice. So here I can just pull the rear brake and I can shave up speed without any kind of fuss. And now let's turn it around and punch it. Yeah, it gets going. It doesn't have the pickup of a 125, but then again, it doesn't have the delay of a CVT transmission. So it's not that instant acceleration like 125s have, but then again, when it starts to get going, it really does get going. Now, this is a bumpy section, really comfortable. The seat is nicely padded. It's thick padding on the seat, which really helps out. The suspension is compliant. What I am seeing is sometimes when I'm full throttle and when I get off just a little bit and then back on it, it has a bit of a delay. I'm sure that's software. That's nothing to do with the engine. That's nothing to do with the batteries. I'm sure that's just software mapping of the throttle. In terms of mirrors, I can see quite a lot behind me. They are very clear, very wide mirrors. And here I'm doing 86 kilometers an hour, no problem. It's very stable, very comfortable. We do have a bit of wind noise, but that's to be expected. I mean, I am used to my big ass windscreen on my ST, so everything has a little bit of wind noise for my liking. Yeah, when you get on the rear brake, it really brings the scooter to a halt. the rear brake has has really nice feel to it, because it's not just the rear brake, it's also the front brake, so that's why it feels so immediate. Like when you just want to slow down, it's so easy, one finger and we can shave off speed like it's nothing, and chuck it into a bend. Composed, stable, easy to turn into a corner. I like that the handlebars are a bit tall. It gives you that almost motorcycle style of position, like when you, with your hands right up, right in line with your shoulder. Handle that bump without a problem. And also the silence. That's amazing about electric scooters. The silence is deafening, I should say. All you hear is wind noise. But I really like it. So the brakes are good, the engine is peppy. It's not quite a 125, but it's good enough for the city. It's good enough. I'm keeping up with traffic here, no problem. The range is excellent. At over 100 kilometers for the dual battery version, the range is excellent. It's a very, very nice offering and a very comparable scooter to your regular 125s. If you have the extra 1,000 euros compared to like a premium 125, you should look into this one. It's actually really, really nice. What I am missing is the ticking noise of the indicators, I have to say that. And also the weird switch, because you don't have to push to cancel, you bring it back to the middle to cancel. It's a bit of a getting used to thing, but I'm sure you can get used to it without any kind of problem. Now let's take it down our bumpy road. Not bad, not bad. Honestly, the Zontes G125 was worse down here than this one is. Very compliant suspension. Seat is really soft. Not bad at all. And when you want to turn it around, let's say you want to turn it around in this pothole, this huge pothole, we just press, let me open this, we just press the R button, hold it down. Come on, we have an F here, that's for forward. So if we open the throttle, it easily goes forward. And now I don't want to push it back, so I press and hold the R. We have an R on the dash. And there you go. And again forward. And that's it. So it's very easy to turn around because you can use the reverse gear. Quite funny to have a reverse gear on a scooter. You just walk it backwards like it's nothing. You don't have to use your legs to push it up, push it backwards. You just use your legs to keep it upright. Brakes are nice and positive, and then to go back into normal riding mode, press it once and you're back to regular riding. Now the three modes that you have here, 1, 2 and 3, that doesn't limit the power of the engine, that just limits your top speed. So if we go into 1, we still have decent acceleration, but at about 40 kilometers an hour it will stop accelerating and it will lock at 40 or 45, something like that. We're gonna get it out now and see how fast it can go in the eco mode. Once again, positive feeling from the rear brake. I could get used to this rear brake, it's really nice. All right, let's go. Eco mode, maximum amperage, like I've said, and now 39, 40, the amps go down and I can't go any faster. I am full throttle, and switch it to second mode. That gets us up to above 50. So around town you could ride it in second in the normal riding mode, but we're gonna put it in sport mode because we want to have some fun with it. Let's get it, chuck it into the corner. This is bumpy, feed in the power, real nice. You can have some decent fun with it. Is it compromised? yes, it is. Like all electric scooters, it's very, very compromised in the sense that you do have a bit of a limited range, but 120, 130 kilometers is nothing to sneeze at. Still not the 200 to 250 kilometers of a regular scooter, but 120, 130 is good enough for city riding, for all your needs around the city. That is plenty of range. Also, under seat storage, yeah, you're missing under seat storage, but then again, you can mount a top case to it and there's your storage. Nice brakes, positive brakes. About the brakes, I am missing the ABS. Now at 4,000 euros, it should have come with ABS, honestly, because in case of an emergency, yeah, the brakes hold, but the back end locks up. The back end locks up. That's not a problem for me because I have experience with riding, but for somebody paying 4,000 euros for this scooter, it should have had ABS. Come on, it's not that expensive. I don't know what exactly the problem was with not fitting ABS to it, but it should have come with ABS. At least in my opinion, at this price point. And if you want to go against all of the other big 125cc scooters, you should have ABS on your scooter. Other than that, it's really nice. The fit and finish is pretty good. The plastics do feel a little bit thin, but that's not a problem. What 125 scooter doesn't feel thin? The brakes are nice and positive, even though we're missing out on ABS. The engine is nice and peppy. Maybe in the next iteration, a bit of a better mapping situation of the throttle. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but then again, once you get used to it, it's not a problem. And it's quite a nice bike for city riding. Currently out on the road, and I'm seeing no problems with it whatsoever, with keeping up with traffic, with cars. There are a couple of things I have to get used to, but a couple of days riding this and you should be pretty much set to use it without any sort of problem. Really great offer. Now, as in with electric cars, when they started 10-15 years ago, it's not quite there. It's not quite at the level of regular 125cc scooters. I mean, for 4,000 euros you can get yourself just about any 125 you can dream of. But then again, it's not far off. Mark my words, the electrics are coming. They're coming, and they're coming fast, and they're getting better and better with each passing year. Very soon they will be very competitively priced, and they will have just about everything that your regular 125cc PCX and Max Symphony ST, whatever those scooters have, the electrics will also. But for now, if you want to be an early adopter, this Super Soco CPX is quite a nice option. You're not sacrificing much at all. It's a nice riding scooter, well put together. A few caveats, but that's to be expected. But all in all, if you have the money for this kind of scooter for 4,000 euros and you want to go electric because you don't ride out of the city, you just want to ride around your city, it's a very good option. So thank you all so very much for watching. Also, if you want to know what riding gear I use or what gear I use to film this, check the description down below. I'll have Amazon affiliate links to just about everything that I use here on the channel, my riding gear and my filming gear. Thank you so very much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care out there and ride safe. Goodbye.